front of the camera and just kind of share their whole story, how they started, and kind of share with everyone what they're doing. Okay, we're out here at Chap Farm. Lace, John, first off, kind of introduce yourself. Tell me how long you've been doing this, what got you into this, just kind of like the backstory. How did we get here today?
Okay, Lace? No?
No.
Okay, we're Lace. I'm John. She's Lace Stanley, and we're the owners of Chapultepec Farm. We're outside of Valley Mills, Texas, and we've been doing this, I don't know if professional is the right word, but professionally-ish since about 2015, so about 7 years.
Nice.
So we first got into kind of farming stuff. It was like 2011. It was the year we got married, 2011.
We were engaged.
We were engaged. We were living in Valley Mills in town, and we had just kind of come across like Joel Salatin stuff about farming and like small scale farming and stuff. And so we were like, hey, this is kind of interesting. So we bought some chickens and we built a little cage, and we had chickens in our backyard, and our landlord thought we were, if my landlord
crazy
sees this,
or?
no, because they're friends of ours, so I don't want to edit this. Anyway, no, yeah. I don't know if people thought we were crazy, but definitely it was different. Like, not a ton of people had chickens running around.
So, but you said Joel Salatin, so a lot of people may have heard that name. That's something that he does, like the regenerative, pasture-raised. So is that, you were kind of looking at that thinking like, I want to try to emulate that or try to do that?
Well, it started with basically it's just like you can farm, right? Then you read that book.
That was the book. You can farm.
You can farm. Anybody can farm.
He was speaking to your heart.
And
Right.
it was, and your mindset was that, okay, we're,
my
parents, my family has owned this land for over 100 years. So, and at some point I would be inheriting
Right.
land. And so his concern was like, we don't
What
know
do-
how
how
what
do
do
we
we
do
do with
this?
land? How do we take care of it?
Right.
And so that got him interested in reading.
Yeah. And with that, the other thing, we graduated from Baylor. I graduated with a lot of student loans. And so one thing was always like, I don't want to spend, like, how do you do farming stuff?
But not go way
But not like,
that.
not build huge barns, not have to buy equipment. And so this was a way like, hey, you can do this on a small scale. And so that's one of the things pride ourselves on, but one of the things we've been able to do is basically do this without having to borrow money.
Huge capital investment. I like that. Chap Farm, because you guys did do some work down in Mexico. Is that where, like, tell me how, like, what's Chapultepec, like, what's that translate to? What's that mean?
So
how'd you come up with it?
So we were married in 2011, 2013.
Yes.
We moved, we're both teachers, so we moved to Mexico City and we were teaching down there. So if you've been to Mexico City, they have a big park. It's called Chapultepec Park. They have a castle there, Chapultepec Castle. But Chapultepec means like hill of the grasshopper. So, you kind of look around. We're on this hill, and we're usually inundated with grasshoppers every summer. So we thought it was fitting.
So what would you say, just kind of doing like the whole farm thing, being a farmer, raising animals, what's your most challenging animal or just kind of overall most challenging thing? Even though I know you probably have like lots of challenges, but what's the one thing that's challenging?
I think
washing eggs,
Everything.
So, we don't do this full time.
Yeah.
And so, the biggest issue we kind of have is we enjoy the farming and we like kind of the lifestyle it brings, but at least right now, it's not something that provides a full-time income. So it is challenging to manage going to work every day and then coming home and doing these chores. And so we've continually kind of grown. And so we're kind of in this space where we're not completely ready just to like jump in.
Yeah.
But we're also, we're running out of time to do stuff. So I think that's kind of the big.
Never enough time.
Yeah, there's a lot of management issues, and we've wanted to expand. We started out just doing meat chickens, and so we've expanded to hens, and we've gotten to beef a little bit, and we've wanted to do some pork and stuff, and we've also tried to do a garden, and So it's just finding time to kind of expand all those things like we'd want to.
What's the most rewarding thing you would say, just kind of raising animals and doing this?
I mean, I think a big thing for me is we've always kind of wanted to live out here. And part of my concern, at least, was I don't want to just live out here and then not like do anything.
Right.
Just like, you know, you may look around and say, well, you have let it go to junk anyway. But like that was kind of the goal. Like, you know, so it's nice to be able to feel like we're doing something and kind of have a plan to progress that in the future. I like, you know, that we do get to interact. It gives us an opportunity to interact with people we wouldn't normally we interact with, and so that's something I think we've enjoyed, and we've met a lot of people that we wouldn't have otherwise. So
Awesome.
And I like raising our own food.
And like knowing where it comes
Yeah,
from
knowing
and
where
all
it comes
that.
from and appreciating that, you know, the whole process more. Whereas before I wouldn't think anything of it, go buy something,
Off the
don't
shelf.
even, you
and-
know, don't even think of the person that raised it or the
Right.
animal that, you know,
Okay.
has, you know, that it came from.
Yeah,
lived its
that's
life.
awesome.
So
Um,
more connection.
So we're gonna walk around a little bit, kind of see what's going on, what you have. What are we looking at today? Is there turkeys?
So we have broilers, we have broiler chicks, and we have older broilers that are be ready to go to the processor in a couple weeks. We do have turkeys that are about a month out from processing, and then we have a laying flock. We also have some calves too. That we
Awesome.
just for the day. We put them in here for the day because they've been getting into the turkeys. Lace has really been bottle feeding these, and we've been kind of raising them up, and so this has kind of just been a good kind of intro to the cattle without
Yeah.
putting a bunch of money into it
into it.
ourselves. So yeah, we learned like how to castrate them, vaccinate them. They, you know, a couple of them come to us pretty sick too, so we just, I don't know, just try to figure out how
Doctor
to,
'em back up
yeah,
and
try
get
to
going.
take care of them. And I don't think we have a definite plan. We've talked about getting some of them processed or just selling them.
So what do you, and they look like they're pretty good lawnmowers right now regardless, but what I see, there's two like little calves,
Mm-hmm.
and then what, like how many do you have right now?
There's 5. So yeah, there's 5. There's the 2 older ones we got about, they were born kind of in January, and then there's 2 younger ones, and then we have an even younger one we got last week that's only like a couple weeks old. So in general, like we own 20 acres, and one of the things we have to do kind of at least once, if not twice a year, is like mow the whole place because the grass does grow up quite a bit, and so we've liked to get more grazing animals in general. So this is also an opportunity to help us kind of figure out how to do that and kind of do a better job just managing the grasses and stuff.
Yeah, I like that. That's one thing I love about you guys is it's you're learning on the go. You want to be hands-on. It's not, and there's nothing wrong with it, you know, like reading a book and then, you know,
Right.
thinking you know what you're doing. It's like
Right.
the best way to know how to do something is you just jump in and you do
Right.
it, and then it's either a winner or a loser. You kind of
Right.
figure it out as you go.
Yeah.
So we're in one of your barns here, and this is like the brooding house.
Mm-hmm.
There's a ton of chickens in here. How many baby chicks do you have now?
There's 300 in here.
300 in here right now. And you do like multiple, would this be one batch?
So we do one batch, so we typically do 6 batches a year, 3 in the fall, 3 in the spring.
And that is like, why would you not want to do them, say, in like the middle of winter?
We've done them in the middle of winter, and we've done them in the middle of summer. Both times, summer's hard because they get too hot. You got to keep misters on them and stuff. In the wintertime, it's just cold, and it also just gives us a break because the broilers are pretty intensive.
So this is probably your, as far as like labor intensive animal, like this is
By far
the one.
Yeah. When they're in
highest.
here, not so much, but when they get outside,
And that's because you're moving them, or?
that's because we'll be moving them every day.
And I want to look at that later too, because you're moving these chickens on grass. And like you're saying, there's tons of grass out here, and we'll go out and look. And you're moving those guys. Is it a daily rotation or a daily
so
rotation?
we move them every day, once a day, and then when they get older, we'll occasionally move them twice a day.
So for these little chicks, let's run through kind of a scenario here. These little chicks come in. How long do they stay inside this barn?
3 to 4 weeks, depending on the weather. In the winter time, or like in the springtime, we may keep them in a little longer, just if it's raining and stuff. But 3 to 4 weeks.
And then, so 3 to 4 weeks, and then they'll go out on the grass.
Correct.
In your mobile coops, and what's
They'll
like
be out
the
there
time
for
frame?
so 8 weeks total. So if they're in tier 3, then 5 outside.
Okay, so 8 weeks total from like a day-old chick, right? And you're getting these through the mail.
Through the mail, yeah.
Through the mail, day-old chick, 3 or so weeks in here, but the total is 8 weeks. And how, like when they're done, what's like the size of that bird? Or what are you shooting for, I guess?
So I don't know, we're shooting for consistency, whatever it is. Typically, I like to see all the birds 3.5 pounds and bigger. Recently,
that's a processed weight?
That's a processed weight,
Okay.
right? So when we sell chicken meat, we sell whole chickens and we sell cut ups. So we get birds cut up when they hit 4.5 pounds. So we kind of like to see about 2/3 of them cut up and about 1/3 of them left us whole. So we're shooting probably average around 4.5 pounds. So what we're shooting for an average.
So 8 weeks, 3 in here, 5 out there. What are these guys eating right now?
So they are on a feed ration. So the feed we get is milled up in Elmont or Golson area, and so we do feed them a non-GMO, non-soy, non-corn feed. We have changed feed back and forth, but we've generally kept them on a non-GMO feed.
That's what you're sticking with?
Yeah.
So that's it. That's, people are asking me all the time, where can we find good local chicken that's soy-free and fed a non-GMO feed like you're doing? It's right here in Valley Mills. That's where it's at, Waco Farmers Market. Let's check out the birds outside.
Do it.
Okay, so we're out here on your front pasture. We've got your broilers behind us in a massive, amazing looking
That's right.
mobile coop. Tell me, first of all, like, how old are these guys? Because again, these guys started in the brooder, and then they come out here and you move them through this whole pasture here. How old are these guys, and then why are you moving them so often?
So these are 6.5 weeks, so they'll be processed in about a week and a half. So the idea here is that by moving them every day, there's trade-offs to everything, right? So typically your birds in the grocery store are going to be raised in a big barn, and they're going to be inside all the time. So the benefits of that is you can control the air, you can control all that stuff. The benefits of this is that they are outside. We don't have to we don't have to pay infrastructure for a big barn and cooling systems or heating systems. We raise them when the temperatures are more or less appropriate. They have fresh air. They have access to the sunshine, which is like a natural detoxifier. And so our goal is just to be able to raise birds as healthily as we can, without extra kind of inputs. Birds are always moving to a clean spot every day. Every day they're getting a clean spot. We're not having to go in there and clean it out. The other benefit is that it's adding nutrients to the ground without us having again to like get implements and maybe dig out the barn and then spread it on the field. Just kind of doing it just differently.
So you're keeping your chickens cleaner, and you're adding nutrients back to your pasture, and you're getting amazing chicken out of the deal.
Right.
That's a win-win-win.
And I think the biggest thing, depending on what people care about, at the end of the day, people want a good tasting bird. And I think that's the biggest benefit we get by raising them outside, is that there is a flavor difference between a bird that is eating grasses compared to a bird that doesn't get that opportunity. So there's definitely a flavor difference.
There's a ton of grass out here, and they are eating. It's a hotter day today. But like your grass out here, there's tons of seeds.
Right.
Just looking around, there's life in this grass, and they are eating it. We'll show on the backside how they've, like a big lawnmower, they've just mowed down this grass. So it's going somewhere. It's going. They're definitely eating a ton of it.
Right.
So this being this is a pasture-raised model, right? They're on pasture. They're moved daily to new grass. A lot of people at the farmers market ask, if they're pasture raised. Can you go into just a short description of what's the difference between what you're doing here and maybe like that chicken that you set at the store that maybe considered cage free, but like what does that really boil down to?
I mean, the biggest thing is our use of terminology, and we get this with customers. Our customers will say they want X, Y, and Z, and we say, yeah, we kind of do that, but we kind of don't. So people will say, well, we want organic birds. Well, our birds aren't necessarily organic. We don't feed them an organic feed. We don't get them certified organic. But if you go buy an organic bird at the store, what people think they're getting is not usually what they're getting. And so we're not big proponents of like saying this system or that this other system is good or bad or the best, but we are big proponents of talking about like what we are actually doing. And so we say, you know, we claim our birds are pasture raised. So we're raising them on a pasture for them as much of their life as we can. So you say things like cage free. Okay, well, if you go to the store and buy something that's cage free, that doesn't mean it's outside necessarily. Something that's organic doesn't mean it's outside. So what we really try to do is help educate people and make sure people understand what we are doing and what we are not doing, because we're definitely not a perfect model by any means. But we're just like I said, we're big proponents of trying to make sure people understand when they use these terminology what they're actually getting.
What they're actually getting.
Right.
And let's do this. Zoe, follow us around. Come over here, John.
Yeah.
This is where they're at. This is your in-laws' property over here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But this is the direction they're going. Sorry, Lace. Like, this is their pasture. And like, look at the grass. It's insane. So what you're talking about with the chickens on pasture, I mean, this is, and at least I think you said it, like they are living their best life. This is amazing property to be raising chickens out here in the sunshine, the fresh air, and just all this, all the grass and the worms and all that stuff they're getting. Plus you're laying down a ton of fertilizer behind, which just improves this whole area for years to come. It's awesome.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah.
Talk about the Okay, so these are your layers,
Yes.
right? What kind of chicken is this?
These are just production-bred hens.
Oh, she's a good girl. And so these are out here in the pasture on this grass, which the little bit of rain we had, this grass has just shot up. How are you? She does not like me. What's going on here? You're in electric netting,
Right.
So go ahead. What you're saying?
So a lot of people ask us, like, do we free range our hens? And I would say, well, kinda. We do keep them in an electric netting just because we are close to the house, so they will wander up to the house. So we keep them in an electric netting, and then we move that. We move it usually at least once a week, but depending what we're doing, twice a week. Right now we do have it like up against the barn, so we're kind of using them as more lawnmowers. I don't necessarily mind if this part gets torn up, so we've left them here a week. When they're out like in the field in the middle of the pasture, we'll move them more twice a week basically, just so they're not tearing up stuff as much. But
this, I mean, this is pasture raised. Look at the grass they're eating. This grass is what? It's full of bugs.
right.
It's full of, they're getting worms, they're getting, even, I know a lot of people don't like to hear this, even if a rodent runs through here,
Right.
they're gonna get that, snakes, stuff like that. And I always tell people, this is what you want. This is pasture raised, and when you compare it to free range, you could free range chickens in a Walmart parking lot.
Right.
That doesn't mean it's better.
Right.
So that's, my whole take on that. But this is how you want your chickens living, out in the sunshine, fresh air, grass. You can't beat that. And are these ones? So are these eating a similar food to what your meat birds are eating?
Yeah, they're eating. We get it from the same people.
So that's a soy-free,
corn-free, and
non-GMO.
It's just a different ration.
Do you know how many birds you have, or
it's between,
because you count them like every
well, we
hour,
count
right?
them. Yeah, we count them when we put them out here. We had 240, and so we have like sold some or given some away, and some get out, and we do lose some occasionally. So I don't know exactly, but I think it'd be between 200 and 230, somewhere in there.
Definitely over 200. How many? Whatever number like what's your weekly amount of eggs or daily, or like how many eggs do you think?
So it's kind of been changing. So we're still kind of new in the hens, and so About 4 weeks ago, we were getting about 100 dozen a week. The last couple of weeks, I don't know if it's just our feeding regimen or the sun's setting earlier, but we've been getting more like 60, 70 dozen. So
Yeah.
it's just, we're still working out like how to kind of maintain a more consistent product in that regard.
It's that roller coaster of the lovely egg life.
Right.
So we're at some turkeys here. These guys look absolutely huge. Tell me what's kind of going on here.
So these are our Thanksgiving turkeys. This is the second year we've done turkeys. So we have 50 birds here. We're trying. Last year the ones we had did really well. They got way too big. Like we had 23, 24 pound process. So we've tried to, we've done a little more research on how to, kind of regulate their ration a little bit. But these guys have about a month left. So we're hoping that they'll be some good sized birds.
And these will be ready so people can start ordering them for Thanksgiving, or?
So we'll process them kind of end of October, and then at that point we'll put them online and people can order them at that point. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And again, I'm assuming that these guys are on the same kind of feed as everyone else, the non-soy, non-GMO. Okay, what is this here?
So these are some pigs. These are Cooney pigs, and this is another just experiment, spur of the moment. We've met a lot of people. We've had some other farmers call us and say, "Hey, we've got all these pigs." They kind of got overrun with them. Do you want some? Just take some. So we were like, "Sure, we'll get these." And these guys are just kind of an experiment. They're supposed to, if you see their snouts are upturned compared to most pigs, which
good point.
they still root up in the ground, but they don't necessarily root up not as much. So you can see they've been, we just moved them. If you look over there, they were over there for over a week. And there's some spots where it's kind of rooted up, but it's not like you would kind of typically think. I mean, the thing with these guys is that we're not feeding them a feed right now. For the most part, they're basically they're supposed to be really good at just foraging. But with that, they're not going to be as big as your typical pig, and they're not going to get as big as fast. So we're just kind of playing it by ear and see this one right here. She's already had a litter, so that's she's supposedly pregnant. We're gonna have a litter, so they're not big by any means. A 200-pound pig is going to be kind of the top size that we're gonna deal with. So, but I would imagine we'd still be a year out from. We have a couple other ones that are in timeout. They're a little bigger, but they would be the first ones to process, and I'd still say
because they're in timeout, or
because they just get out. These ones mind the electric fence; those other ones did not. So, but I'd still say 6 to 8 months before they would even be ready. So
that's awesome. Cooney.
Yep.
And they have a face only a mother could love.
That's right.
So with everything that you've got going on here, what's your goal kind of moving forward? Where can we see Chap Farm in the months to come, the years to come? What's just kind of your overall vision?
I'd like to see us be able to get to a place where even if we don't do this full time, that we are able to, kind of make a substantial amount of income off the property. So I'd like to see us grow all of our operations and just be able to provide at least a certain amount of people a consistent food source. And so we don't necessarily need to be serving thousands and thousands, but if we feel like we can contribute to the community by providing food regularly for people, that's what I'd like. I like to be just consistent in whatever it is we're doing. So currently at the moment, so our website is chapfarm.com. And on there you can place orders for, you can pick up items at the farm. We do make arrangements for that. Most of our sales right now go through the Waco Downtown Farmers Market, so that's every Saturday. We also have a home delivery service to the greater Waco area, and so that service area you can find on our website. And then currently, Mondays, we just switched that recently to Monday afternoons. So for that, you can place an order online, and then we'll deliver it Monday afternoon. And then we're also been selling stuff through Milking Creamery and McGregor, so eggs and chicken.
Awesome. So if you're in the area, the local Waco area, you can do local deliveries on Mondays, which is awesome to have a product delivered right to your door that was grown locally here in McLennan County. We're not in McLennan County here, Bosque, but the Waco area. And then also and you don't even have to be from Waco to go to the Waco Farmers Market.
That's right.
If you're in Waco on vacation, stop by the Farmers Market. Check out Chap Farm. They've got awesome products. And thank you guys for letting us come out and check all this out.
Thank you.
There we go. Ready.
So you recording it? So we'll go ahead.
So
Wait, hold on.
I gotta have a job here. You gotta let me out.
Stop leaving the interview, John.